Good evening, everybody. I'm Go Veer, Go Home, and welcome to Rail Talk Live. Tonight, we've got a very special episode for you guys. Normally, we show up, we build kits, we'll do some graffiti, maybe a work on the layout, a little bit of everything, right? Today, we have a special guest that will be joining us, and we'll be talking about wood kits. I'm still yet to build a wood kit, so this is going to kick off our next group build. This is going to be the introduction basically to that. And I know I need the introduction. I know I need a kind of a walkthrough because I have no idea what to expect. So you guys are along for the ride. I hope you guys are going to be joining in on the group build as well. And that'll start early in May. But tonight, just going to quickly say hi to those of you who are joining us both from YouTube and Facebook because we're right across the map tonight. So we've got Sparky. How's it going, Mr. 107 107? Floyd Robbins, congratulations on that win the other day. Mr. Brian Ferguson, hello. And Mike H.O. Trains. Roger Coleman. And I thought I saw someone else. Almar, how's it going? All right. Welcome, everybody. Welcome. Steve, how's it going? And John, one of 75 Johns that I know. So many Johns. All right. So tonight, like I said, we've got a very special show for you. I've got my good friend Nick from ITLA. Imagine that laser art, and he makes some really, really cool kits. And I thought, well, you know what? If I'm gonna try wood kit, this is gonna be the kit that I'm gonna do. And I was looking through the website and I saw a bunch of very cool kits that I thought would be perfect to do the group kit build. And I landed on the York Industries kit. That was the one that caught my eye. Now, there isn't any in N scale, but those should be coming soon, hopefully. We've got an N scale kit as well if you do N scale, and you can build along with us. But without further ado, let's bring in Nick.
Good evening, Nick, everybody. I'm good, thanks. I'm good. How are you guys?
Good. All right. So you're Nick from ITLA Scale Models. Tell us about ITLA.
Well, okay. Well, thanks for having me on, and I appreciate the opportunity to spend some time with you guys this evening. And as you said, to try to acquaint everybody with some laser cut wood kits and specifically our version of those. So ITLA, as you mentioned at the beginning, was known as Imagine That Laser Art from 2008 to 2012. My wife Renee and I bought the company in 2012 and rebranded it to ITLA Scale Models Incorporated. And we've been basically building the company since then, and lucky enough to enjoy worldwide sales. Lots into the U.S., of course, into Canada, but overseas as well. So we're shipping into Europe and down into Australia and even into some of the Asian countries as well. So that kind of is a neat angle that I didn't expect when I first got into this business, but kind of neat to know that it's a global hobby. And we're all modelers. We're all trying to do the same thing and enjoy the hobby. And honestly, I'm having fun promoting that and helping people along. I'm no expert, so I learn as well every day. So it's a lot of fun.
You're very modest. I've seen your work. It's really good.
Thank you. Thanks very much.
Well, so for those that are in the chat, obviously when we're going over certain things with the kits and the website and whatnot, if you guys have any questions, definitely make sure you save them towards the end, and I'll be throwing them up on screen rapid fire for Nick, and he'll do his best to, of course, answer any question that you might have. And of course, watch for we've got a discount code. You've got a discount code.
Yes.
And we'll be sharing that in a little bit too, so that if you want to join the group kit build, it's definitely very nice of Nick to be able to provide us with a discount code so that you can join the group kit build. It'd be awesome. We'll throw that up soon. But yeah, I'll let Nick continue. Sorry, I keep talking.
Oh no, it's all good. No, it's great. So what I've done for tonight is I prepared a little bit of a presentation that I'd like it to walk you guys through. And what I'm trying to do is basically give you a bit of a grounding in wood kits, are specifically my version or our version of wood kits. We're going to talk a little bit about some of their features and the materials, and how we go about painting them, and how we assemble and that kind of thing. So by the time I'm done the presentation, you'll have a better flavor for what ITLA represents, and what our products are in the hobby and in the industry. And you'll hopefully see a bit of a difference between our product and some of our competitors. And I hope you also appreciate the virtue of modeling in wood versus that in plastic. And I've done plastic models all my life too. But I'm telling you, I really enjoy working in wood. And I'm hoping by the time we get through this, you will as well. So with that being said, if you like, Kris, I'll just jump right into the presentation and I'll just keep talking.
Absolutely. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, the floor is yours.
All right, sir. So I'm going to start sharing my screen, and I apologize for what'll probably be a picture-in-picture thing for a moment as we get this up and running.
There we go.
Okay, so let me go back up to the top of this thing in the slideshow mode. Okay, tell me if you can see that.
Yep, perfect.
Okay, great. So I've got a full screen here. I can't see any chats. So if you need to interrupt me, just speak up, Kris, and I'll hit the brakes. Okay.
Sounds good.
All right. So ITLA Scale Models Incorporated. I mentioned a little bit about how we came to be in 2012. We manufacture precision laser cut scale model kits, and my wife and I are basically everything: the owners, the designers, and the modelers, and everything you see on the website. Really is the work that we've done since 2012. So we offer a wide variety of high quality kits, and really we chase an industrial back alley theme, and that's one that you might notice as you look at our product lines. We kind of like that old gritty back alley, stuff that was traditionally in the 40s and the 50s, the transition era. But what I also want to stress is that a lot of these kits can be modeled in present day. Those buildings and those structures are still out there, and all you got to do is change signage, change a little bit of lighting maybe, and just morph that era forward. So some of it may look like it's rooted in transition era, but it can also flex into the more modern eras as well. So we laser engrave and cut our wood materials to represent masonry, steel, and concrete when painted using basic techniques, and I'll share some of those techniques with you shortly. We use premium quality materials. I'll touch on that. And then, everything from brick structures to modular wall panels, detail kits, gondola decking flooring, flat car decking flooring, and even some New York and Chicago elevated railway structure, which is a bit of a niche product for us, but really cool. And if you spend some time looking at it, you could appreciate that, I'm sure. So the website categories are in front of you there. We'll get into that a little bit later as well. I encourage you to go have a look. Even while I'm talking, you might want to look around that website. It's your call. Otherwise, I'll just continue down my PowerPoint presentation here.
I should mention, sorry to
yes,
interrupt.
Not a problem.
The links as well for all the kits that we're talking about today are in the description below. So if at any point you did want to see the kits for yourself and scroll through the website, just visit the description just below, and you'll click on the link, and obviously it'll take you to the corresponding kit.
Excellent. Okay. So one of the main features of our product is what I like to call configurable by design feature. So we engineer these products to be, multifunctional and buildable in a variety of footprints and varying wall combinations. And that allows you to fit your layout, your module, your, whatever shelf module layout, whatever you're building. Hopefully these models can fit what you need in terms of track arrangement and position. So some of the kits that I will show you build in as many as 15 different combinations. And what we like to encourage is look at that kit and envision it from either a fully walled structure, 3D structure, however you want to term that, to shallow relief and to a background flat format. So they're kit bash capable by design. And as I get through some of this, you'll note there's the ease of assembly, the precise fit and finish, the quality materials and tab and slot. It's really geared all about trying to provide a more efficient and satisfying build experience for you, the customer. And honestly, if you're happy, I'm happy. And because I'm just a modeler like you guys are, and really a lot of what you will see in my product is based on my experience as a modeler and a little bit of my automotive engineering background that kind of flows into the designs. So I'm going to touch on a bit about the beauty of laser engraved and cut wood kits. So this is where we're going to contrast a little bit to the plastic kits that you're used to seeing. So wood represents brick and masonry with a realistic matte finish. It's durable, it's easy to work with, it's got fine details and reliefs that I can engrave into the surfaces. It allows me to do that. The paint penetrates the surface slightly too, which is better than building up on top, and you'll see why as we speak going forward. The wood also provides a surface grip, or even a tooth, some people like to call that, for chalks and pastels, for primary color, or even just for weathering. And you'll see as we go through some of the conversation here how some of this gets accomplished. So the materials that we use come from a variety of different sources, but as I mentioned, wood is very easy to cut and shape, and you can use a variety of hand tools and a variety of adhesives too. And simple PVA wood glues to CA super glues work well with all these materials. So we use primarily micro plywoods, MDF, and laser board components. So the micro plywood actually comes in from Finland, and it's a 3-ply laminate used in cabinetry making. It engraves and cuts really well, and it's easy to paint and stain. So we use that for detail parts, windows, doors, cornice, pilaster, and brick layers, even concrete layers as well. The MDF we use is an 1/8 inch thick, and it's a solid wood product, and again used in the cabinet making industry. Dimensionally stable. It doesn't warp unless you soak it in a pail of water. It doesn't shrink, and we use the MDF material for walls and, whoops, I got ahead of myself there, for walls and structural components. And the neat thing about the MDF is because of the 1/8 inch thickness, you don't need bracing as you might with basswood or some of the other thinner materials. So the material is very robust. Lastly, laser board, you've heard that term 100 times probably. What that really is a resin impregnated backer. And that's used again for laminating substrates on your countertop in the cabinet making industry. Excellent strength, durable, paintable, and it can be finely cut with the lasers that really produce some cool steel components. I'll show you a little bit of that later. But I also use it for windows, doors, and some brick trim. So continuing on with that theme, not too many people get to see what the actual machinery looks like when it's operating. So here's a real-time view of engraving. That's engraving brick on the MDF sheet. And then to the right of that is a real-time view of us cutting out the wall sections of a specific kit. So again, real-time, no, I'm not sped up any of the videos here at all. This is how it actually operates. I'll let that play out for a moment here. Some of the other pictures around those videos, you can kind of see what we can produce when we use this equipment. And it's kind of neat to, a lot of fun to create this kind of detail. And, it's really it's imagining what you can do. It's using your imagination and seeing what you can create. It's kind of become a bit of a passion of mine, if you will. Okay, so that's a little bit about a look behind the manufacturing process, and this is some of the product that obviously we produce through that. Okay, continuing on with the value of working with the laser engraved wood. It's easy to cut and shape, and you saw the lasers doing it with ease. They sure make it look easy. But then the neat part about this is you can take that standard product that I'll cut off the lasers, and you can manipulate that product with some standard hand tools. And this is where the fun begins. So you can create some different effects, and you can make your kit very unique. So the beauty of some of this is that, you're not always looking at, I don't want to mention other people's stuff, but let's just suggest you might be looking at the Walthers, whatever kit that you can recognize on everybody's layout. In these cases, my hope is you can build our kits uniquely with your own unique touch and flavor to them. So if you look up in the top right corner, I'm basically taking what I would call a concrete base for a water tank. And oops, this is a sensitive mouse. And I'm taking my number 11 X-Acto blade and I'm chipping up the edges. And then after I paint that part, it's going to look like worn concrete. Because how often do you see a nice clean slab of concrete like that? Perhaps the day it was cast. So reality is, in all our model railways, it's most likely going to look a little bit worn, a little bit used. So if you take that concept a little bit further forward, you can kind of look at this before and after here on my concrete loading dock. So here's the dock before it's been worked over with that X-Acto blade. And then after, you kind of enjoy some of that spalling and cracking and scoring and all this fun stuff that you can do in the surface of the material. And as you paint these parts, you can start to play on these effects with some of the acrylics that we use to draw out some of those darker lines and score marks. So another simple example, I think this thing is running on its own, which is why it's jumping on me. Here's a real simple example on a wall. So what I did was I took the back side of my number 11 blade and I created some cracking. I scored the MDF surface here, and that's what it kind of looks like after paint. So the note here, though, is wear eye protection. You might wonder where the tip of my blade went. It luckily didn't go in my eye, but I wouldn't want to see it go into your eye. So be careful. But this is the fun part about building in wood. You can use X-Acto blades, files, sanding sticks, etc., to enhance the base product. Okay, what kind of adhesives do we use? Well, here's two of my favorites, and there's tons of them out there, but these two work well for us. And Weld Bond, for starters. Tight Bond 2 is another one that's out there, but any PVA, white PVA adhesive is going to work well on these components. So it gives you a fast tack, and it sets up, about 24 hours, but it sets up quickly. And we use this in all our major structural joints. And, white carpenter's glue will work so long as it dries clear. Then the Ultra Gel, I use this a lot, and that gives me some time to move some parts around. It also fills some gaps. So you can use your standard fast setting gel or fast setting CA as well. Just got to make sure you nail your part in the right position. So that's a little tip for you guys. I would recommend these types of glues for this type of product. Now we can get into some quick discussion on painting, and there's a tutorial I'm going to link you to later that will go more in depth on this. But basic terms, I wanted to kind of give you the quick and dirty. Here's how you color our product. And everything you saw behind me on the bench behind me is painted with this, basically these basic parts or basic materials. Sorry. So rattle can spray paints. You wonder, can I spray, without globbing all over the surface? Yes, you can. So the trick is to lightly spray or dust the surface. So whether it's your birch plywood pilasters or your laser board or your MDF walls. The same idea. You spray that surface very lightly, and honestly, you do it from a bit of a distance so you get a dusting, which also provides you a bit of texture. And that's one of the real secrets to doing this. And the other thing I would suggest is that, again, don't want to get that far ahead, that I've noted that heating the cans up in basically a bit of warm water. So if you took some warm tap water, your hot tap water in your sink, if your wife's not too bothered by that, and hold your cans down in that water, not not with the valve submerged, but to about this level here. Let those cans warm up, and you'll be surprised at how much better the paint will apply, will leave the can and atomize and apply to the surface. So once we do base coats with these kind of colors, we end up using water-based acrylics to lay on other tones and brick variation and weathering and all sorts of neat stuff using these types of paints right here. Very easy to find in your Michaels or your local, even your dollar store sells some of this stuff, to be honest. But anyway, we'll get into some more of that later. But you create washes in various colors and intensities, and you apply those to the surface. Basic concrete painting, again, fairly easy. So you basically select a gray spray can concrete that speaks to you, if you will, Krylon, Rust-Oleum, or similar. It's got to be matte or flat, gray or a beige tone. And then you spray those parts like I just described, again, misting them or dusting them from a distance. When that's dry, you can go over those parts with a 50-50 wash of a darker gray acrylic. So you basically spread all that on with a brush and then let it dry for a few seconds and blot it with a paper towel. And that's where you get some of this speckled, mottled look on top of that base surface. You could optionally clear seal that component afterwards and go back and repeat the step with perhaps a warmer tan gray wash and get another layer of color in there. So if I didn't mention it already, the goal is to create color layers. Okay, so we'll get into this further tutorial later, but basically I will direct you to a website tutorial that will explain to you how we paint these walls. And this is a good example of spray can application, basically camo. This is Rust-Oleum camo concrete base color. This is I have a can right in front of me, Rust Coat, basically primer, like a red oxide primer. And I dusted the walls. I had to mask, obviously, do the gray first and then mask and do the brick. Then you can take a sanding stick, and again, the goal is to drive tone. So here it's almost like a monotone. But here you start to drive some lighter tones by sanding away a little bit of that paint that you just applied on the brick. Then you can go have some fun with your X-Acto blade again, and you can flake off some of the surface brick to drive a little more spalling or age into that wall surface. So you can see me doing that here. Then you start to get into the little bit trickier stuff. This looks a little bit ratty, but bear with it, because you start to apply some brick tones. So rust colors like an orange, paprika orange, or a burnt umber, or various browns, and it depends on the type of wall that you're chasing. Then you can start to see we're also adding a little bit of darker tones to individual blocks in the foundation, some rust streaking and things such as that. And that looks pretty hacky, I must admit, but we're not stopping there. The next step is you basically tone all that down with some 50-50 washes of those same colors. So, example, in this area here, you can see I've washed that with that orange tone, brown tone, and it basically just melded everything together. So you can play with this, on and off. It depends on how far you want to go with this type of brickwork. You could be happy with, somewhere in this area where you spray, you just throw a little bit more acrylic on this, and you might be okay with that. And that's totally good. And then you're done. So it depends on how far you want to take it. You want to build 5 layers of color, you can build 5 layers of color. You can optionally clear seal between these layers, and that would help you drive more color separation. And that's something we would recommend, but not always necessary. Okay. So far, so good, Kris. Anything?
Actually, there's a really good question here, and it's based off of the picture with all the wall pieces.
Here?
So Sparky wants to know why you didn't remove what would potentially be the window in the brick.
Good question, Sparky. Only because I was probably lazy and just basically moving forward with the component in front of me. You would normally pop that out, yes, and you would normally want to paint the inside inner surface of that. I just got lazy, I guess, and didn't do it. Good catch.
Okay, yeah, because another question that I have in particular would be the popping out of all of the pieces. So I know obviously it shows that you're painting it all as one
Yeah,
individual
right,
sheet.
right.
Um, is that something you recommend to paint it like that, or like? Because I'm so used to popping out every single
Yeah.
piece and painting them
So
almost individually.
you're right. So in this case, I just did it as one layer so you could see all the componentry. What
Mhm,
I would do if I were building a larger model like the York kit that you guys are potentially going to build, I will pop those parts out first, but I will spray them together with this gray camo. So I'll
mhm,
tape, I'll throw some masking tape down on a surface, and I'll stick those components to that masking tape, but ensure that I paint them together. But that allows me to paint the underside of the header and both sides of the sill as well.
mhm.
So that's a good catch. So yes, we do pull parts out strategically where necessary.
Okay,
Okay.
sounds good so far.
Okay. Super. All right. So we also can deal with some of the individual wooden componentry. So what I wanted to show you guys too, that you could spray paint stuff on easily and quickly, or you can actually brush paint on the acrylics as well. So in these examples here, this is a section of ductwork that comes in some of our kits. And you can see I'm laminating the wood components together. And then basically I brushed a gray acrylic over top of the actual assembly to make it look like a galvanized metal. And then I started to rust wash it with a raw umber and an orange in this example here. In this example here, this has been brushed with a silver and then rush washed in spots with raw umber and orange. So you can kind of see how you get a silver duct and maybe a galvanized, oxidized looking duct. And then in the end, you can add your favorite pastels, whether it's, pan pastels or any other weathering powder to add a little bit more of that cool weathering look and feel. So working with the wood, again, very, very simple, not hard to do at all, and lots of fun. So we'll get into a little bit of the kit componentry, and I'll just explain a little bit about some of the features as we go forward. This again will be this is what my website will look like. You'll see that in a few minutes. Categories, structure kits, and I've got a specific line of industrial these reinforced concrete wall modules. I love this stuff. I grew up with a lot of this in Windsor, Ontario, and spent time in Detroit across the river working for General Motors. So I was in and around plants like this all the time. And I don't know why, I just fell in love with that look and feel of, box cars pushing through doorways and stuff like that. Elevated railway structure, that was a niche product that came with the company and is still a very popular product. We can talk separately about that sometime, but that is a really neat opportunity to build bridge structure. And, it's for the elevated railways in Chicago and New York, but some of this stuff is also usable for viaducts and bridge work in standard gauge railroading. Detail parts, you'll see some of that. There's some cool rooftop kits and duct work and, water tanks and all sorts of neat stuff. There are some modular brick wall panels we sell that can be used to expand some of the kits that you'll see up in the structure lineup. And then flat car and gondola decking that goes really, really nice. It goes on easily on the plastic, surfaces of those cars like an Atlas or, any of the other. There's a few cool ones in there. I can't remember some of the names right now, but basically the Walthers cars, the Atlas cars, even the Athearn cars, and it changes the look incredibly. So just have a look when you get a chance. I mentioned earlier that we engineer these kits to be more modular in construction, and that gives you the flexibility to fit the space that you have. So this is the York kit, Kris, that you're kind of focused on, and it was a good choice for this group build event. Everything you see pictured here comes in the kit. It's really cool. A lot of rooftop details, a lot of wall details. There's a few ground level 3D printed parts that we add in there too. But you can kind of see some of the the neat detailing on the walls and the engraving and that. This kit will come with 3 different name badges, if you will, or signs, color signs. So whether it's York Inks and Stains or David Fine Furniture or North York Chemical, that's all in the same kit. These are actually all the same kit. So when you go to my website, you'll see this picture and you'll see this picture and you go, well, which one do I order? Well, you're going to get the same kit because they are. I just show them differently to attract the attention of the guy that wants to do some shallow relief versus the guy that wants to do some fully enclosed 3D structure. Okay,
And
so
that shows how versatile the kits are. I didn't even realize that they were the exact same kit. They're so different, but very much the same. So
yeah, so that's cool. So you see, yeah, so we design it so you can, there's at least 12 footprints that I know of. And when you open up the instruction manual, you'll see those 12 ideas, but you will probably come up with the 13th and 14th idea, I'm sure. And to the point, Kris, that yeah, these are all the same kit. Just look at the fact that there's different paint colors, right? There's different signs, there's different placement of details. So the cool thing about this is that you and I are going to build it differently. We're probably going to put the stacks in a different position, or we might decide to put this duct a little further down, or I might decide to take this dock wall and move it further down because that's where perhaps my siding is going to run in somewhere, or so you can adjust all of these wall panels to suit your specific layout needs. And that's the value that we try to add into our kits, is that design, that engineering, configurability, if you will.
Now, I know you did mention it, but just as a refresher for Split Rock here, he was asking what your favorite glue is, or favorite adhesive, I should say, for building these kits, if you have a preference.
Yeah, my preference is that weld bond. So that would be my recommendation. As that commercial goes, we put that shit on everything. So it's good stuff. It's also somewhat. Here's a neat tip with that particular adhesive. You can actually use a heat gun, and you can heat a cured joint, and you can separate it and redo the joint if you had to. So that's a cool thing about weld bond. It's you can almost you can take it apart if you really have a problem.
Yeah,
so
that's neat.
That's my go-to glue. Absolutely. I buy it by the gallon, to be honest.
There was a couple other quick questions.
Sure.
You
No
feel
worries.
like answering a couple.
No worries.
So Mike is asking, as a pay option, would PayPal be used in the future? Is that an option?
Yes. All you have to do, I can invoice you through PayPal from this end. Unfortunately, my website software doesn't play well with PayPal. And when I've turned that PayPal feature on, it basically overtook everything that I had for e-commerce on my website. So unfortunately, I had to disconnect. So I can invoice you directly through PayPal. Just send me an email. Tell me what you need, and I'll take care of it on this end.
All right. I hope that helps and answers your question there. Almar was asking if it's possible to buy extra pieces. Like, now I know that you have the modular kits, but pieces for kits like these, like the York, can you buy extended pieces, or would you just say buy 2 kits and then you can make it twice as long?
Yeah. Well, I'll be honest with you. That's a great question. And I've had to answer this 100 times. And unfortunately, the answer is sorry, no, I don't sell individual wall panels for every kit. And if you were to, the way I could to explain it is if you were to look at the designs that run on the lasers, these are all laid out efficiently and they're all in a design file that's configured to run to produce the kit. So for me to create one wall panel, I have to create a new laser run just for you, as an example. And that gets pricey. I can do it, but you're not going to like my price. So you're almost better off buying 2 kits. And you have, I'm sorry, but you have to realize that there's no way I could stock individual components for every kit. It just, it's hundreds and hundreds of parts. So for efficiency reasons, I can't do that.
It makes
Sorry, Al.
sense.
I'm sorry. Okay.
Now, so the York building, because we were obviously this is the one that we're going to be well for the HO guys.
Yes. Yes.
And you had touched on a point that I felt was very important, and I just want to highlight that is that let's say if there's 5 of us building this kit, all 5 of our kits are going to look completely different, whether
Yes.
it's the color, the layout of it, even the branding that you give it. And I think that shows such a huge range just within itself and how versatile the kit is, and it makes it such a really good kit for something like this.
Excellent. Yeah, and you chose well actually when you look through the lineup. This is a great kit that has tons of flexibility for the modeler and tons of detail. So good choice.
And also the fact, yeah, that when you get the packaging, it whether you go on the website and you buy the flat or you buy the 3-dimensional one, you get the exact same kit, but it makes it easy for you to decide more or less when you're searching up the kit. So don't let that deter you when you see the kit, because when I have one here with me that we'll get into a little bit later, and when I received it, I was like, wait, which one did I get? I thought I got the 3D one, but I really wanted the flat, and it also shows the flat. And yeah, I had a moment there, and
No
and
problem. Sorry
Nick
for
had to
the
explain it to me.
anxiety. Sorry about that.
No,
But
it's okay.
no, it's all good. So that's I'm glad you're bringing those points up because they're important, I think. And yeah, everybody can build it different, and that's the good thing about I think about this idea behind the configurability.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so not to leave the N scale guys out because there could be some online. So I don't have the York in N scale yet. Perhaps later in the year, it's on my list of things to do, but I haven't got there yet. And it honestly takes a month or 2 to get, to convert a kit and then to get all the artwork and the instructions and such done. So I'm going to suggest that this is another great opportunity for an N scale modeler. And again, this is a kit that can build in 12 different footprints. It's called All State Machine Parts. And, I personally love this kit. This was a bit of a challenge, personal challenge of mine, because I wanted to create an N-scale kit that had a really high level of fidelity and detail. And I didn't want it coarse. I wanted it fine scale. And I think I got there. And if you look at some of the content, hopefully you'll agree. So, HVAC ducting, this is N scale again we're looking at. So the HVAC ducting is I think a cool add. The vents and stacks that you can see, some are 3D parts. These 2 are 3D components from our friends at Mini Prints, as is the roof on the little N scale water tank. So we've had to do some things like this to ensure that we could get decent detail. I did have a laser cut version of this at one time, but honestly, it was difficult to put together, and I bet you I would probably upset more people than it was worth. So that's where Bernard helped me out with a 3D part.
Good old Bernard always coming through.
Yeah, exactly. I like to throw him a challenge once in a while as well. So fire escapes are kind of a cool thing too in N scale. When you're modeling in this scale, the N scale guys would probably agree that you've got to have some decent vision or a heck of a good set of close-up optical lenses that you can use. So I had to do that for these fire escapes. The water tank itself, pretty cool, and some pallets and crates over here. So this is a really neat kit. Now, again, thinking about the configurability, this is a fully sided kit pictured here. That same kit can be built as a shallow relief. And you basically fold the back walls out and towards the front, facing front. And then now you've got this nice long structure that you can run your trackage up alongside, loading dock and all that stuff. There's a dime for scale, by the way. And then we also, this kit is available in HO as well, but we also sell a 4th and 5th story addition to it. So then when you add that 4th and 5th story, then you've got this monster, nice backdrop, huge statement structure that you can put on your layout. Okay, so that's something cool for the N scale guys. Just wanted to throw that in. And I wanted to touch on our modular wall systems. And I mentioned my affinity to this type of construction and architecture. But what I wanted to show here was that, there are plastic versions of this. We all know that. I'm not going to hide that fact. But my goal here was to try to achieve something a little more to scale. At least I hope so. The second, probably largest feature of this construction is that all these parts are separate. So they can be painted separately without masking. So the brick inserts are separate panels. You deal with those separately. The wall frames are separate panels. The cornice or pilasters, the pilasters are also separate parts. All of the details you see are separate components, windows as well. So the neat thing is you deal with all those parts without masking, and then you bring it all together and you get this really nice, crisp, clean execution.
That does look really good.
I love that picture. I'm sorry. I love that. And you know what? This is taken in natural sunlight, and that's one thing you cannot beat. Is real lighting, real natural sunlight just sets off your models. So I had
nothing but good things about your fire escapes. People rave about them too.
Oh, really? Oh, that's good to hear. Because you don't hear a lot of feedback unless it's negative. But
that's true.
I don't hear a lot of the good stuff, so I appreciate that. Thank you. And then here's the same product line in N scale. And I just wanted to share this because it gives you a little bit more of an overview of the modularity and the ability, since every one of these panels is its own kit, you can stitch together whatever shape structure you want. You can trim them down. That's why I've got these concrete parting lines here. Those are actually marked purposefully so that if you wish, you can section cut at those lines and you can start to stack wall sections. So that's how I got this extra 5th story bump up, and then this rooftop stuff. This is just all these same wall panels cut down into 1 and 2 story versions. So that's the cool thing. And all these parts are plug and play. So if perhaps I don't want a window here, I want a brick insert, I can trade this brick insert for that window, pull the window down here if I wish. So all those are interchangeable. You notice the potential to open your sashes. This is N scale here, HO as well. You can do this in. So that's a cool look that I thought was something you don't see on the other everyday kits, if you will. And also the window plug ups, like these, forever broken panes from bird strikes or rock throws or whatever. So you get some of this stuff in the kit too, where you can start to add those to your windows. And I think that's a cool look for this type of architecture.
One thing I really like about this kit, and you can't tell because obviously it's already built, and I forget what you refer to them as, but when the wall sections go together, it's almost like a puzzle. But then you have a strip of wood that covers up the joint, and it almost looks seamless.
Thank you. That's called a pilaster. So
pilaster,
pilaster. If I'm pronouncing it right, I'm not sure. But anyway, you can see that they're all matched. So you basically line it all up. And here's the tongue and groove or tab and slot construction. And yes, once all that goes together and you layer on your pilasters, you don't see any of that. It's all a cohesive wall section. So I love this. This is a great little product line, and I love building this stuff. It's so much fun.
That one's really cool. Oh, there was a quick question for you as well.
Sure.
And I guess you could use this for either N or HO and most of these kits. But Split Rock is wondering how much bracing is actually needed on the inside of these kits to keep them upright.
Okay, would you believe me, Split Rock, if I told you that this has no bracing in it at all? So this is just the MDF wall panels, and then they're butt glued together here, right? And then if I were inclined, I could take a piece of, in my case, I would probably take a piece of 1/16 plywood and basically laminate the backside of that joint if I had to, if I thought that I had a long enough stretch that I needed that. But in this case, I don't have any bracing in that building at all, and it's fully sided.
So when it comes to doing lighting and whatnot, you're not really interfering with any electrical that needs to happen, or it's not
No,
going to take away from the actual.
no, not at all, not at all. And you can brace if you wish. Like if it depends on how much handling you're going to do, but if you wish, you could create some bracing. But I recommend that you would use the carrier sheets that these parts come in. You can just cut those up,
Mhm.
the leftover material, and that's what you could use as bracing if you thought you needed to.
That's really cool. Very, very strong stuff.
It is. It's really strong stuff, and really, it's about gluing it together and making sure that everything is nice and square and true.
Mhm.
And you'll be surprised at how robust it is. And then I'll just touch on a little bit of the detail kits. So you notice in a lot of our kits, rooftop details are always there, and they're important to us because that really sets the buildings apart. I think the kits, the from manufacturer to manufacturer, not everybody will have a lot of roof details. Some will have basic details, some will have no details. We try to add a little bit, and then we also sell the kits as add-ons for you if you choose to upgrade a building or add more to one of our existing kits or anybody else's. So in this case, this is the N scale rooftop detail kit. And this componentry, everything you see here is in that particular kit, but it's all the same stuff that you see in the previous pictures. The ductwork, air conditioner unit, water tank, all that cool stuff is there, the palletry. This exists in HO scale as well as O scale. And I would doubt there's any O scalers online, but we got you covered if you're there. And another neat thing is loading dock interiors, and this is a real popular kit for us. This is a component that so it's like a shadow box, and it basically fits behind our dock door openings. And it comes with a set of engraved boxes and crates, and you can break those apart and you can put them in any orientation you want. So it's really the same. This is the same kit used in two locations. N scale in this case, HO scale, and again in O scale, it's available as well. The surface textures I spoke of a couple of times in this presentation already, but I wanted to draw your attention to it one last time. So you kind of see where we're trying to go with our effort. I'm trying to give you guys some real unique surface features that you can use those acrylic paints to pull out. So here we go with spalling concrete and rebar. The N-scale water tank, I was really proud of the fact I was able to pull that off after I broke a few myself, but finally got it to the point where it was assemblable and, saleable. That's got Bernard's roof on it, by the way. And then, just a cool view of some of the fire escapes. And this is laser board. So this is the beauty of that other material that allows the laser can cut it so cleanly and beautifully that you get this cool almost scale representation of the steel work down the building face, and that's kind of what I wanted to show you there, that underappreciated close-up view perhaps. So in summary, our kits, they offer you ease of assembly, precise and repeatable fit, quality materials. We try to ensure, and we do ensure there's minimum parts cleanup. Easy to paint, simple techniques we talked about, and we're going to touch on a little more. Tab and slot, configurable modular assembly, unique details, I think are pretty cool stuff that goes with it. Customer service, we're honestly here to answer your questions, and we offer support during your build. So, I get a lot of questions. I spend time every day answering to the best of my ability. I'm no expert, but I can offer you, the solution for this product, any of these products. So we're just an email away, and part replacement guarantee. So, we stand behind our product. So if you break a part during normal handling, I have no problem replacing that for free. So just, don't tell me your dog ate it, just be honest. Because honestly, if you broke something and if you tell me how you broke it, I might learn from that and fix it so that it doesn't happen to somebody else again. Okay. All right, Kris, last page.
Oh.
That was just a signal. So, please have a look at our website, ITLA-scale-models.com. Sign up for our newsletter and join our social media feeds. And for you guys tonight, I want to offer you a 15% discount on the selected products that support Kris's group kit build. And I've listed those products here as well. But I'm also going to throw in that paint test wall as well, because I want to make sure you guys get an opportunity to try this brick and concrete painting before you really, tackle a kit. And I think that would be handy it'll couple with the clinic information I'm going to show you in a moment. So, starting now, you can go make a purchase on my website, and you can plug in the GVO ITLA code at checkout, and you'll get 15% off of these products. So what I did was I added the York Industries in its 2 versions, the dock interior that could go with that if you're interested. For the N scale guys, I've got a couple of buildings. I've got N scale Cosmo or Cosmopolitan Motors. I've got that All-State machine kit that you can see here, plus it representative. It's in its full flat or shallow relief, same kit again. And then there's a 5-story version of that that's sold. So for the N scale guys, that's there for you. Dock interiors and N scale. HVAC systems are available in NNHO. And then a cool little wall detail kit as well that allows you to add a couple more, electrical boxes, conduit, and things like that around the building. So I threw all that out there for you guys. Have a good look. Again, I'm an email away, so don't hesitate to contact me if you need. Okay. Kris, any questions before I turn this presentation off?
No, it looks good. Makes a lot of sense. And of course, with you guys, when you guys go, if you're making a purchase, the code, like you said, it only goes towards what you're seeing on the screen here. And then when you're going through your checkout process, basically when you put, let's say, for example, the York Industries, once that's in your cart, it asks you if you would like to add on certain things like the interior loading dock, the 6 or 18 piece detail kit, the roof venting, HVAC. And you can just click it and add it, and the discount goes towards that stuff as well for both the HO and N scale guys. And then, of course, he's throwing in as well a sample wall so that you guys can practice first, practice before the big game. And, I really want to see what you guys come up with because, again, everyone's going to have something a little bit different. And this can be applied to both HO and N scale. And I think that's a good variety of kits, too, that people are going to be building. So,
yeah, sounds good. So then what I'll do, if I can, let me get through, I'll just open up my website for a moment and just kind of show everybody a couple of things up at the top here. I wanted to ensure that you guys knew where some of the tutorials are and the support information. So when we talk about painting, basically went through this briefly with you guys already. However, I'd like to suggest that you guys, especially for this sample wall, have a look at this particular article, Paint and Weather a Laser Etched Wall. So it's underneath the paint tab on my home page. And if you want, actually click here and you'll get a YouTube video of me explaining all this stuff, if you don't mind me droning on for 8.5 minutes. But it'll basically explain all of this information again. One of the things that I didn't mention, I should have probably, is have a look at some images and, Google weathered red brick wall and look what you get, back in terms of those images. And those are, that's kind of your what you can chase in terms of color. So when you look at this, you can see, all right, I see some reds in here. I see some oranges. I see maybe a black, some brown or burnt umber. So when you look at the picture in that regard, you can start to pick out the different colors, and then you can add those layers that I spoke of earlier. So it's all about adding light layers of accent colors. So this whole thing here will tell you exactly what I tried to tell you, for a couple of minutes earlier. There's the opportunity to add your pan pastels here. Again, beautiful surface for that. This stuff will never come off. It'll grip and never come off. I'll talk a little bit about mortar in the presentation as well, whether you like a full brick mortar or you just like a little bit of a partial. You can tell you how to do that. Explain how the windows and the sills go in and the headers. And in the end, that's your red brick wall. I kind of hope this helps. And again, check the, you probably want to watch the video. You might get a little bit more out of it than just reading through the slides. Okay.
Yeah, and now you can find all those videos as well on Nick's YouTube channel. Obviously, ITLA scale models. You guys can always look that up, and he's got a good library there of reference videos for different kits as well as how to build certain kits. I think you've got a lot of the modular stuff on there, which does show the brick wall kit and how you can make it taller. And add additional floors to it. And how you would put on what did you call it again? The bracing on the front.
Oh, pilasters. Yeah.
Pilasters. And you see how he puts on the pilasters, and yeah, they're really nice kits.
Thank you very much. That's great.
Bernard's ears must have been burning because he's in the chat now. All the way from Peabody, MA.
Peabody. He's everywhere. Bernard is everywhere.
That's true. Now, I also did link the website in the chat there, itlascalmodels.com. You guys can always visit and check all that stuff out in between the kit builds, during the kit build, whatever you need to do. There's a lot of like really good resource material there just to help you through it, which is really good. The big question right now, a lot of people are asking is, what kind of tools would you recommend, or what would they need to get through one of these builds?
Oh, okay. Not a lot, to be honest. Not anything different than you probably already have on your workbench. The good old number 11 X-Acto, sanding stick, stolen with pride from your wife, probably. Right, that's always handy. What else will I do? I will use a lot of squaring fixtures. So when you're gluing, you definitely want to make sure two things. You want to make sure that the workpiece is flat to your work surface and that you're creating 90-degree joints where you need them, right? So very, very important. Be patient and let your glue set up so that you don't end up with a lot of wonky wall joints. I'll show you a couple of other interesting tips. I picked this up, I can't even remember where. These applicators, I don't know if anybody's tried using a needlepoint applicator before. If I can try to get it to the camera. This has weld bond in it, and this jar with a sponge in the bottom is it will be soaked in water. And basically, when I'm building, I will insert my needle applicator down into the sponge, and it'll sit there and not dry up while I'm working on parts and moving things around the work surface. So that's a cool little trick, by the way, that I picked up. I'm not sure where. And the other, I don't know if you guys have ever seen anything like this. It's called a glue bot. Strange name, eh?
Glue bot.
Glue bot, and you can get this on Amazon. Actually, I think there's a glue bot on Amazon, and there's some other pseudo similar product. But basically, it's again holding weld bond. But if you can, I can't really show you the tip too well, but you kind of see how wide that tip is. So this is the tip that I will use to see if I can find a part.
I put you full screen so they can see a little bit better.
Perfect. Okay. So if I'm wanting to apply a little more glue to, let's say, a wall joint, like here, I'll use this type of a glue bottle. And, you really just want to put on a few dots here and there because you don't want too much squeeze out. But this is a cool applicator. You just basically squeeze and the glue will come up the siphon tube, and you've got great control of it at the tip. So that's called a glue bot. And again, Amazon or Lee Valley is another good source for those. Other tools, razor saw is another good one, right? The Zona razor saw for cutting. This material is very easy to trim. So if, for example, you are trying to think, I should have had a few extra parts here for you, but let's just suggest for a minute that there's that test wall panel in this hand. Let's suggest that I'm wanting to butt joint it to a wall that has some tabs on it, some of my tabs. I can cut those tabs off very, very easily with a razor saw, get a nice clean butt joint, and affix the two walls together. So, razor saw, number 11 blade, sanding stick, squares, weights, to hold parts down while they're drying. I think I might show some of that in my videos as well. But what I'll do is I'll use bar stock, which is steel 1/4 inch by, this is like 2.5 by 12 bar stock. And, I'll use that on my work surface to hold, let's say I hold the pilasters down maybe on a flat wall, just to make sure that as the glue sets, I'm getting a nice flat connection in the joint.
I hear a lot of guys like 1, 2, 3 blocks.
1, 2, 3 blocks are awesome. Yeah. They're expensive, but they're awesome.
Yeah.
But you got to have that. Clamp wise, I don't tend to use too many clamps, but you can get away with some of these real simple spring loaded guys. Right, are always handy to have kicking around. And in all honesty, that's that, and maybe some painter's tape, and that's pretty much it.
Now there is a couple more questions here. Okay, so Almar was asking, why to York Industries? What is the difference? And I can kind of show him here because I do have this on hand. And this is basically how it would arrive. And you can see that it has both the 3-dimensional and the backdrop building. So it's one kit, but there's many different versions. There's enough to do a full kit where you're building a 3-dimensional building, but you can also turn it into a backdrop building. So that within itself, also all the different variations included as well, which will be in the instruction booklet. That's why there's more than one. Technically, they're the same kit.
Yeah, they're the same kit and presented in 2 different ways to appeal to 2 different groups of modelers. One group being the guy that wants a full-sided structure for his layout that's visible from perhaps all angles, and the flat version for the shelf modeler or the module builder that doesn't want the backside or doesn't need the backside shown, but wants a long face industrial structure.
And then he was asking, what is the name of the structure? So Split Rock, because you do HO scale, just because I happen to know, the York Industries kit would be the kit that we're doing for the group kit build. Now, just to kind of give you a bit more information on the group kit build, to make sure that everybody is able to join, so we're giving you a week, basically, where the promo code will be available from starting now until next Sunday at 11:59 at night. And you're able to order your kits, which should give Nick enough time to fill those orders and get them to you, hopefully, by the 4th, which is the first Sunday in April. If for some reason, let's say if it's a high order, and we're not able to get everybody their kits on time, we'll push it a week to make sure that everybody has received their kits. That way we can all start together. And then every Saturday night from 8 o'clock till 10, we'll take a couple hours and we will all work together on the kits. Nick said that he will be popping by to offer some assistance when needed and to chat, see how things are going, and answer questions and whatnot, which is really cool. Just checking the chat.
Unless the Leafs are winning. Unless the Leafs are winning, I may not be online.
That's true. Are they winning now?
I don't know. I'm afraid to ask.
A lot of people like the 1, 2, 3 blocks. I know that's another thing that you could probably find on Amazon. You can tell who the machiners are in the chat there when they love their 1, 2, 3 blocks.
Yep.
Mini
I
Prince.
saw Bernard asked if I showed any tips or provided any tips. I think he missed the show.
Yeah, he's a little late. No? Okay, fine. I'll stop. But yeah, no, Bernard, make sure you watch back. A lot of amazing information here that will definitely help everyone of many different skill levels, from the beginners, such as myself, to the experts like Mike H.O. trains. Mike's really good. Honestly, like we talked a bit before the show, and I was telling you my true feelings about doing brick, and it scares me. So yeah, it's a little nerve-wracking, but hopefully with the information, I really want to do some of that mortar too. That looks really cool.
We'll get you through it. Don't worry.
Trackside Mike, how's it going? Air conditioners, air compressors, heating and cooling supplies. So there was another thing here that I wanted to point out, and I made a note of it. I was asking you about that because there is and this is a good clarification for those who are wanting to get the HVAC system, because on the site it shows HVAC for HO scale, S scale, and O scale, but you can still use it for N scale too.
Yeah, there's a couple of kits there and I'm going to actually, if you want, let me throw my website up again. Or do you have mine handy there, or you want me to do that for you?
I can.
Well, let me do it. Actually, let me do it. I'll quickly jump over there if I may. I'm sharing right now.
Yeah.
Okay, so let me just show you that. So in the detail kits section, we've got a couple of options here for you guys. So you saw me talk about that N-scale rooftop detail kit. There's an HO1 currently out of stock because of I'm short on the instruction booklet, but that should be back online within the week. So that's out there. But this is the N-scale kit that is usable in HO scale as well. So if you look here, I explain the size of the ducting. So this is a multi-scale kit. So basically in N scale, these will be 12, 20, and 30 inch wide ducting. But in HO scale, they'd be 9, 12, and 18 inches wide as an example. So that is an AC or HVAC system kit available with up to, what did I have in here, was like 30 linear inches of ducting. There's a ton of stuff in this kit. It's pretty decent. And then there is you're referring, Kris, to the HVAC kit, which is this guy. This is a ducting kit only. So basically, this is the HO, S, and O scale version. So duct sizes, again, in HO scale would be a 22-inch square, 16 in S, 12 in O. So the components within the kit are as shown here. Again, laminated MDF, and then you got these cool laser board brackets that we add in, both angular and standoff, and then some flange plates, and et cetera. So that's the difference between the two kits. One is an N scale HO, and the other is HO and everything above. I hope that helped.
Okay. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. And obviously, for those who are just joining us as well, I highly encourage you to go back and watch the replay, of course, so that you don't miss anything that we've spoken about already. And there's a couple more questions here for you, and then what we'll do, I'm going to open up the kit here, and we're going to get a live reaction as they are, and we'll talk about some of the stuff that everybody might be getting for their kit build. So Anthony's asking, and I'm going to throw that up on the screen there. I know it's not related to this, but it's a question that you'll be able to answer. Will you have the concrete dock available for HO scale, as you have the N scale one?
There is an N scale, or sorry, there is an HO scale concrete dock out there now. It's the short 19-foot version that I showed a picture of when I was describing the distressing of the surface material.
Oh,
so
okay.
it's there.
And that's on the website, right?
It's on the website. Yep. I'm going to go look to make sure that I'm not lying to anybody. Hang on one second. I see. Hang on. N scale comes in a pair, and HO scale. Yep, HO scale's out there as well.
Perfect. Now, Split Rock was asking, is the discount code already posted? And if you take a look along the bottom of the screen there, down below, you can see it. It's running away on you there. It says, use promo code GVO ITLA at checkout. And again, it's for the very specific kits. If you're not sure which kits, check the description below, and that'll take you to the main kits, whether you're HO or N scale. Choose wisely. They're all excellent kits, but you know it's definitely gonna get the wheels a turning, get everybody thinking, what can I do? What do I want to do? And you know, I've already bought some paint, so I'm a little bit ahead of myself. So I'm really excited to really get into this thing, and I'm going to dive in head first and see what happens.
All right, good. Don't be shy. I mean, the only way you're going to learn is to try, right? So, hey, if you make a mistake, not a big deal. It's correctable.
That's true. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to tilt my camera down, and I think we'll do a little bit of an unboxing. Well, minus the fact that there's no box. But we'll take a look at the. So first off, I just wanted to show this because I do have one of the wood floors for the gondola, and it adds a lot. They're already excellent looking gondolas, but just when you add the wood floor to it, which is available through ITLA there, and like you were saying, you can get it for the bulkhead, you can get it for a flat car, and in this case, I got the gondola one here. This is just your standard Rapido gondola, the 52 something, 52.6 or something like that.
Something like that. Yeah, I don't remember the numbers, honestly.
Yeah, it's all the details. So here's the main kit here. This is the one that I really wanted to do. Sorry about the reflection, guys. But so this is the York Industries. I think I'm gonna crack this open. I'm not gonna build it yet, but I want to get a good look at this thing, and we'll see what comes inside. And feel free to comment or explain anything if I miss anything here.
Okay. Good technique on the knife, pushing it away from you.
Thank you. I didn't have any safety goggles, so I had to cut away. So now I don't want to mess this up. I don't want to mix all the kits, but obviously comes in the packaging. And one of the first things I noticed right away, oh, there's stuff in here. Okay, so I'm going to pull that out, put that over here. So one of the first things I notice is that the instruction booklet is fully colored, and there's a good explanation inside as to how to build it and all the options for building it. Whoop, I just got to find the camera. There we go. I don't see that too often. There's many. I've had kits from many different manufacturers, but I've never had color-coded instructions before, so I can really appreciate that. It'll make it a lot easier. That's cool.
Please read the instructions. There a lot of work goes into those, and
I'd
appreciate it if you read them.
That's cool. So let's see. So we've got some clear. Is this acetate or like the window glazing?
Exactly, window glazing for you. Yep.
Okay, I'm gonna put that inside because I don't want to smudge. What's this dark stuff here?
So that's a textured paper. So we use that for the corrugated awning that appears on that kit.
Okay, yeah. There. Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's neat. Okay, it's very thin compared to the walls, so
Yes.
I
Yeah.
probably got to be very careful with that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and these are the wall printout signs.
Yeah.
That's
So
very
colored,
cool.
yeah, colored paper, and it's this is the tried and true method of you can. There's a couple different ways to apply those, but basically, you could thin the backside out with a bit of sandpaper,
Hmm.
then trim your sign out, and then we use a bit of a 50-50 white glue mixture and apply that to the surface of your painted model. And I think Sparky, I might have seen a comment. He was asking about, do normal decals work? I've not tried a normal decal, Sparky. I don't think it's going to do well on the wood surface unless you had a really heavily sealed, glossy kind of finish, which I wouldn't encourage on the wood kit anyway. So these would be paper decals that we use, and or paper signs. They're not really decals. So the other gentleman, I lost his name in the list, but you could prepare your own signs too. So if you have a specific industry that you want to model or recognize, you can run your own off of an inkjet printer, and in all honesty, it'll work.
So I'm looking at this, and the first thing that obviously catches my eye is this little goodie bag here. Is it attached to the back? It's okay. Yeah, it's taped to the back. I'm just gonna untape that so I can
Yeah.
show.
Be careful. There's a little wire back there too, Chris. You don't want to lose.
Wire?
You
Oh,
see
I
that
see
little
that.
wire? Yeah, that's
Yeah,
the guy wire for your exhaust stacks on the roof.
neat. Okay. Okay. I'm gonna come back to that in a second, but I'm gonna show the little goodie bag here. What's in the goodie bag? What do
So
we have
those are
going
some
on here?
3D printed parts. So you're getting some trash cans, some crates, and I think I had some 45-gallon drums in there too, I believe. So a little bit of ground level detail or dock detail for you.
Yeah, I see some garbage cans, and then there's lids for garbage cans, and then the crates and barrels. That's cool. That's cool.
Yeah.
So extra details, bring it all together.
Yes.
Uh, so taking a look at this now, normally what I see, and I'm just saying in a normal sense, everything is numbered, and then you got to follow the numbers on the thing. It doesn't tell you what it is, but this actually tells you what every single piece is and what it's for. And I don't know if it'll show up on camera, but things like exhaust ducking, like this is all exhaust ducking and it's labeled. So that helps because some pieces when you look at it, you're like, what is this? That doesn't make any sense. This actually tells you what every single piece is. And that is very helpful from a
Yeah. So
building
that's
standpoint.
that's a little something different that we do too. So I like to use noun names to describe, even though it's a little extra laser engraving time, but as a modeler, I appreciate, okay, I know now I can understand what that part is rather than trying to cross-reference a number to a list.
Mm-hmm. So we've got our first look at some of the wall panels. These are, so you've got A's and B's basically, and these are a couple of B's, and you see some of the detail there that's scribed into the wood or lasered into the wood already that brings that brick look through.
Yes, the
It's
spalling.
really,
Yeah.
and this piece here, this one on the side, that's a roof piece. So that's technically like a footprint almost for the three-dimensional version.
That's correct. The first, I forget what number I called that one, but basically the basic version, if you will, a little L-shaped version.
Mm-hmm. What do we have here? It smells really good. I often make comments about new locomotive day and new locomotive smell, but that smells nice. It reminds me of like a campfire almost. It's really nice. So main wall corner covers and molding strips and vertical stack flanging. Really paints a picture of where everything is supposed to go. So that's
the
pretty
goal.
cool.
Mm-hmm.
That definitely helps. And of course, we've got like a lot of different windows here and some more main wall corner covers and entry railings, doors. Yeah. Oh, there's a roof AC unit as well. That's really cool.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to show that. So again, these can be built as a background flat or as a three-dimensional build. Here's a question for you. When it comes to doing something like this, now you said blast this whole thing with gray as your primer undercoat, and then
Right.
you can tape off, the certain parts, and then paint the red brick. Now, do you take this all apart piece by piece, or
It's
can I do this?
you could do either or, Kris. So what I would do is recommend. Sparky picked this up earlier on. So I would poke out all of those window plugs,
Mm-hmm.
and you can do two things. You can just keep those for another project, or you could actually paint a few of those up and use them as bricked up windows, or plywooded over windows sporadically through the structure. But you want to be able to knock those out of the way so that when you do paint the structure, you're getting the inside surfaces of those windows as well. Although make sure that you don't paint them too heavily, or else the window fit will be very tight.
Right.
So just be careful. So to answer your question, yes, you could paint the whole thing in one sheet, because the edges that won't receive paint are going to be covered by those pilasters or corner covers, as I call them in that kit. Later in the build, so you won't notice the raw edge on the MDF later on. So you could do that.
A little bit more 3D look too.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then you could break those panels out and just do it all separately, whatever suits you.
That's so cool. And there's not a lot in here, but you can make like quite the kit.
Mm-hmm.
What would you use as a like a platform for your building?
So in terms of a sidewalk, or what are you thinking? A roadway?
Kind of like the base of it.
So okay, so what I'd recommend, and we should probably touch on this too, because roof panel wise, you will have to, depending on the configuration or the footprint you choose, you'll have to add some roof material from your parts bin. So whether you use styrene or gator board, or something such as that's easy to cut, foam core for the roof will work. I don't think I'd recommend it for a base because it does tend to warp when wet. So that's what I'd recommend. If you could also use a thin plywood, I suppose, for a concrete base if you wanted one.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure what your layout substrate is. What do you use on your layout?
So I have masonite that I've used for my fascia, and it seems to be strong enough that when I glue a building to it, it holds it very well. And then when you do all your stuff over top, like your sidewalk, or if you have to lay rail across it or track it, it holds very well.
Yeah, for sure. That's a good one. That material is pretty decent, pretty robust, and I think if it's masonite, it'll have a little more glue in it, so it should be less porous. So when you do some ground foam or painting or whatever, it probably won't warp.
So another thing I wanted to mention that I had seen, when you're let's say for the N scale guys, so this is your dock, right? The inside three-dimensional dock. The N scalers, you get two of these in a package, which is really neat, especially for the longer buildings. You can do both doors open, just like you showed us a picture of the nice brick building, and it looked really nice with the windows, or the doors open with the interiors. This is that venting. I don't think I had to pull it all out because you were showing us some really nice pictures, but this is what the venting looks like. So this is completely separate. So you get venting already with the York Industries kit, but you get additional venting with this kit as well, which is really cool.
Yep.
And of course, this one here, this is pretty cool. So this is the 18. Is this the 18-piece detail kit?
Correct. Yep, with some color signs as well.
I do want to open that because I want to get a good look at the signs. So I always think, how am I going to decorate it? That what is my end game for decoration, right?
For sure. Yep.
So I just want to open this up. I'll slide that out. So the venting here is really nice too. It might be hard to pick up on camera, but that's really cool. So yeah, there's little fans, and there's little things for the side of the building here. That's cool.
Flip it around, Kris. I think that might be the backside.
Oh, yep. There you go. Looks even better on this side. So yeah, okay. So that's really cool because the venting here, it almost looks like the dare I call them louvers, but it looks like these are all angled. Yeah. I don't know, it's hard to say, but I'm very bad at explaining things.
No, I understand what you're saying though. Yeah. So we try to provide a couple of different options for you guys. If that's the one I'm thinking of, you can carefully bend those. You get one chance at it before the nib breaks, but you can carefully bend those little louvers out into like a 40 degree, 45 degree position.
Oh wow.
And if you broke one off, you can always glue it in place. So
that's just really cool.
Yeah.
And with these here, of course, you get more pictures. Coca-Cola can to dry. Old Durham. What are these signs here? They say no parking signs. Shipping and receiving. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, so it gives you some other options to dress up your kit.
Let's kind of show the up close of that. Very nice.
Yeah, industrial and safety signs. I like those up in the top right corner there. Those are always fun to put around your building. It really adds another level of cool detail. So
you're saying sand it down from the back a little bit. It makes it thinner, and then you use some white glue, and it holds really nice against. Will it form to the brick?
It can, depending on how much you saturate it and how you work it into the surface. But you could tear it as well. So you got to be a little bit cautious. In all honesty, I've been, depending on how lazy I feel at the time, sometimes I don't even sand those things. I just basically use them because they're so small, they're hard to discern, whether they're thick or not. So ideally, yes, you should take a couple of layers off the backside. If you can do that with some sandpaper, it'll be better in the end.
Yep. So no, is that just white glue, or do you do like a mix of water and glue?
I usually will dilute a little bit of like about a 50-50. Put a little bit of a diluted white glue on the surface of your building, and then I drop the little paper sign on top of that. I wouldn't go the other way around. Like it's a little harder to take your sign off your work surface with glue on it and bring it to the model. You may want to try to work the other way around. Put the diluted glue on the model first, because again, it's going to dry clear, and you can wick up any extra with a Kleenex or paper towel.
And just to kind of show everyone, this is the interior kit here for the display. So you get a little raised platform here, so it's not floating. You create that, and then you get the flooring as well, which will sit on top of that. And I'm assuming it helps to support the three walls that kind of go around it.
Correct.
And here's all the wood boxing that you can put inside to kind of stage the little I guess it's like a diorama. It's almost like a little diorama that you have inside the front door there. And,
exactly.
You can put some
Yep, a lot of fun. You get
there,
it, and you get
you
3
can add it.
pallets there as well, 3 wooden pallets as well on the side and
Oh,
a
yeah,
ladder. Yeah, so
that's
you got
right.
lots of fun in that little package.
That's
And
awesome.
yeah, you break those boxes apart too, so you can configure, another version of that a little bit differently. They don't always have to look the same.
That's true. That's true. That's awesome. Well, that's a great look at that kit, and I'm very excited to get started on that. But we have to
Excellent.
wait. We're gonna have to wait and see, who wants to join.
Who
Of
else is joining?
course,
That's right.
yeah. So just to remind everybody, of course, promo code GVOITLA at checkout, and these are just some of the things that the 15% will save you. And basically, yeah, you can build a whole kit, and you can do that along with myself, and Nick will be there to kind of guide us. So that's cool as well.
Mhm.
Did you have anything else to show?
I'm basically the only other thing I wanted to maybe show you guys was we talked about gray paint earlier,
Yes.
and I just wanted to show you something really quick. I'll try not to put the French sides of these cans up just so people can read them. So here's an example of 3 gray paints that I have in my paint arsenal, if you will. So you can it's hard to tell the tones are a little different. I'm trying to do this with looking through the camera, but you can kind of see a lighter gray, a little bit more of a tannier gray. Um, different sources: Rust-Oleum, Home Hardware, Beauty Tone, or Krylon. Any of this stuff will work. You just got to pick a color that you're comfortable with, or it might match whatever you already have done. And then you can always tone it up or down with some acrylics too. So don't be shy about that. And then I talked about the matte clear, and just to be clear, here's one of the versions. So Rust-Oleum
Okay.
2X matte clear is an example. So that stuff you can use between your color layers as you see fit. And then here was that red oxide primer. So just a basic reddy brown brick primer. And this is actually a Beauty Tone or another Home Hardware special. So, a lot of this stuff will work as long as it's matte and finish. So don't be afraid to give it a try.
That's awesome. And that's just a few ideas, right? You can
Yeah,
go as far as concrete. The newer concretes are more of a gray, and then you'll find the older concrete. The older it gets, it turns more beigey, kind
yeah,
of not yellow, but yeah, almost like an off beige, which is
yeah.
a really neat trick. So you can really tell a story as well just by the colors that you're using. Is it a new building? Is it an old building? I grew up in Toronto, so you see a lot of those types of buildings around, and they've been around forever. So they're
Yeah,
they're mashed up, and they have a lot of the plaster and bricks have been restored. Like you'll see some different colored bricks that aren't the original bricks from the build, and then doors are filled in and moved, and windows are covered up. Lots of options here with these kits.
that's right.
So that's
I see
really
it. I
cool.
see one question coming up we should probably touch on. It's in Steve 87th PSAP. He's shouting in capital letters. How do we do grout line? Okay. So how you do grout lines, Steve, is there's a bunch of different ways, but I wish I had a piece of brick wall here. Maybe on the next time we get together, I can do that. But basically, there's a couple ways. I got a couple videos out there on my YouTube channel too that'll show, as an example, how to use dry plaster of Paris as one solution, and another that will show like just an acrylic gray paint that's been watered down. So after you've spray canned your whole wall, all you do is you're going back over and applying basically a wash, or in the dry plaster case, you sprinkle on the dry plaster Paris and rub it in, and then wipe the upper brick surface clean so that the material stays down in the grout lines.
Now there is a type of grout that I have heard of that is specifically for models. Have you seen that before? It's almost like it's like grout, but or fake
Yeah,
grout
so you can do there's a product called Robert's Mortar Mix
mortar
as
mix. Yeah.
well that's out there. Now I've tried that. I personally find that it's a heavy material and it's hard to get off the brick surface. And it seems to turn your brick, like if you're doing a red brick building, it seems to almost take it to a pink tone.
Mm.
So you got to be a little careful with some of that. Others have tried using, and successfully, they've done sheetrock repair, like almost like drywall compound, but not the stuff that you get pre-mixed. The powdered drywall compound, and you would mix it when you used it. So let's say you did a 50-50 mix water in the plaster or drywall compound, then you spread that across your wall, and then again you wipe it clean. So there's a number of different techniques to do that, and it all works well on this wood material.
Now, if anybody hasn't seen ITLA at any of the shows, now I was lucky enough to get to see at Springfield, and you have quite the setup at these shows, because it's not just, here's a couple of buildings. You have literally like almost, you have like basically a layout of buildings that you like. Is it what's behind you? Do you take all that to your show? Is that all
Yeah,
your show stuff?
yeah. So everything you see behind me, plus a little bit more that's actually out on my layout, that's the stuff that travels with us to the shows, and it's a big it's a big job to try to bring all this stuff along and not break it all up. But it does have a great, I love people seeing it, and people will tell you that it's so nice to see the stuff in front of them rather than a picture. Pictures are helpful, but when
Mhm.
you see the product in real life, it's so much more compelling.
And at Springfield, you had announced a brand new kit. I just want to mention that because, of course, not only is it a brand new kit, but it's a combination of stuff that you did with Mini Prince as well. And Mini Prince is always on the channel. I'm always raving about Bernard's stuff. So I just thought I'd mention that here, of course, because, the genius of one and the genius of the other coming together to making this kit. And it's a massive, massive kit.
Yeah. There
Do
was a
you have
mushroom
a
cloud
picture of
when
it?
we got together. Yeah, there was a big mushroom cloud when Bernard and I got together and came up with these ideas. So let me just flip over, and it's worth a look. I'll just pull up my website one more time. Hopefully not bore everybody here, but hang on one second. So if you go to, well, let me get back. There's those concrete docks, by the way, that somebody was asking for in HOS and O. They're there. So if we go to the home page, this is like, it's a featured kit. So right here on the home page, it's this kit right here, Tri-State Fabricators. And this thing it's a monster. It's 31 inches long, I believe, in this configuration. It will build in about 15, I think, if I remember correctly, 15 combos. But you start to see some cool, use of the ductwork, the fire escapes. There's some of that scratching. I don't know if you can see this. The picture's maybe not big enough, but some of the scratching on the wall that I added myself. But Bernard's parts are scattered all through here. So you kind of see some of these cool, more modern light fixtures that Bernard and I came up with. And these are lit with my own LEDs. And Bernard made it so that basically there's already a hole in the component that allows you to thread in a little, I don't know if it's a number 402 SMD LED, but they're ready to receive those LEDs as an example. Combination of my own laser cut componentry with a lot of Bernard's cool stuff, the bollards, the fire department connections, the air conditioner you can see in the window, these cool Jersey barriers. We talked a little bit about that and got those in. So there's so much cool stuff. The scuppers, this is a neat, where I got to go back a bit maybe to see the scuppers. At the roof line, a lot of these buildings would have, for lack of a better word, an eaves trough, but this is called a scupper, and it basically picks up the rooftop water and brings it down into the drain. So these are Bernard's 3D parts up in here, and they're sized to fit the evergreen styrene rod that comes in the kit. And then you can't see it this close, but I got some really cool brackets that I laser cut that thread around those styrene rods and complete a really neat look with that detailed part standing off the structure. So lots of really cool components. Thanks to Bernard's ingenuity, we got a really cool package. And if I look down here, this is an early version of what you get in that kit. And there's over 45 parts if you really count up all the individual componentry, including rooftop drains and the light fixtures I spoke of. There's a really cool gas meter in here, barrels or 55-gallon drums, trash cans. There's even a line pole transformer. You know, there's we got security cameras. You know, we've got the electrical connection to the building, which is something that maybe is rarely modeled, but I wanted to have that on this particular structure. So really, really cool stuff. And yeah, if you're looking for a neat project someday, it's I know it's an expensive kit, but there's a ton of stuff going on in it.
That's definitely a top shelf kit there. That's immaculate. And seeing it in person, it's even bigger, right? Like, oh man.
Yeah, thanks. I appreciate that. It's 2 years in the making, off and on for 2 years, and you know, it was a lot of work. Not with Bernard, mind you, with me. It was me that was really slowing things down. Bernard was, yeah.
Sparky was asking, what's the next show that you're going to be at?
To be honest, probably be Springfield again. I don't think I have anything else planned at this point throughout the year.
Is that the major? Because I'm surprised you didn't go to what's it called, Super Train? That's just out west there. It's on right now.
Yeah, it's a bit far though. You know, when you think about having to take all the stuff behind me, you know, that's a long haul. So it's not something it'd be cool to go, but honestly, it's just a little too much logistically.
And also because you were at Otter Valley in the fall, because Otter Valley does the. I guess it's like a manufacturer open house. Yeah, pop-up. Yeah. Do you think you'll be going again this year?
Yeah, that's true. I forgot about that event. I'll probably I'll talk to my partner in crime, Renee. If we're around, yeah, we'll probably get to that one with a smaller version of the display. Something maybe a couple of tables rather than the usual 5.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
One of the other things that I did get, just to kind of complement the building, I don't know if everybody else is going to do the same thing, but again, this is just me in typical GV fashion. I love, because I don't like wiring at all. I don't like electrical. I'm bad at it. I could probably stand to learn a few things, but I always go with and I threw it across the room. I dropped it, actually. It slipped out of my hand. It's the gooseneck lamps from Woodland Scenics. I got a pack of those, but it's across the room now. That's fine. But yeah, to light up the doorways and of course, you know, to add a bit of realism to it, and you know, just bring another way to bring things to life, and
it is
add a nice little touch.
The lighting does add a lot. And if you look at the York kit, the long version of the York kit on the website has those very lamps, the Woodland Scenics goosenecks installed, and it really kicks it up. Yeah, they're cool.
I think we covered everything. Was there anything else that you wanted to show or share?
No, I think we're good. I mean, I probably talked too much or gave too much information out, but hopefully some of it was useful. You know, let's see who wants to participate in the build, and we'll get the orders filled, and we'll set up our next session, Kris, and I'll step you through it in the background first, and we'll make sure you get a bit ahead of the curve and go from there. Okay.
And just to remind everybody, of course, you know, the code is live now, and then it's for the next week. So by Sunday of next week, 11:59, that's when the discount no longer applies. It only applies to the ones that we had showed today for both HO and N scale. Check the link in the description below. and of course the add-on stuff as well to make sure that you're able to, bring your building to life. Yeah, it's going to be fun, and hopefully we can get started. I'm hoping for the 4th, but I don't mind waiting until the 11th if it means that there's going to be more people ordering kits, and we can all hang out like this and build kits together. And if you guys have questions at any point during the process, Nick, of course, is going to be available. He also answers emails just about the questions, normally. So that's already a great resource right there for help. But other than that, first off, I want to thank you, Nick, for taking the time to
My
do
pleasure.
this, to come and share, your vast knowledge of building kits with us. And of course, you'll be joining us as well for a few more lives as well to help us through the
For sure.
process.
For sure. Yeah, my pleasure. Thank you.
And as well, I want to thank everybody at home for watching and for showing up and making us part of your Saturday evening. And I look forward to seeing you all again and building kits with you. If you do need any more information, reach out. I still go live every Saturday night at 8 o'clock. So while we're waiting for everybody to receive their kits, I'll still be doing a regular show. And looking forward to May to start our wood kits.
Awesome.
Other than that, again, can't thank you enough. And we'll sign off here, and we'll see everybody next week.
All right. Thanks very much, Kris. Thanks everybody for listening.
Have a good night, everybody.
Cheers. All right.